Hello snowboarders of the internet, I'm your host Avran LeFeber, and in this video we're going to review the Jam by Bataleon. Is it the Jam? Maybe. Was it influenced by the band The Jam? I don't know. Anyways, let's dive into this review. This board is available in 4 sizes, 153, 156, 159, and 161 wide. This board features Bataleon's dynamic camber with the freestyle 3BT and sidekick technology. So you got camber underfoot and then the freestyle 3BT. So it's got a little bit more raise in the tip and the tail. It just gives it a little more scoop. It makes it a little bit more loose, but it's equal amounts in the nose and the tail. I rode this board at Arapahoe Basin after a storm. It was blue skies, sunny, little bit colder temps. The snow was a little punchy off the perfectly groomed run, so you poke through it. Really had to be a little bit more aggressive when you were riding it. And I rode this with my K2 Indy bindings and my K2 Thraxis boots. This board is what Bataleon calls 99% twin, so you got a slight directional flex to it. And I mean an ever so slight directional flex. That means slightly softer nose to about here, stiffening back up through to the tail, where the tail is noticeably stiffer than the nose. This board's overall flex is definitely on the stiffer side of all mountain freestyle. I mean, bordering on like a low-level free ride board. There's an okay amount of torsional flex, but not an overabundance. This board is not a damp board. It's very lively. You will feel every micro vibration resonating up underfoot. Now, when I was in rutted out terrain, this board tended to get bucked around and put you into the back seat. You had to be a little bit prepared to get kicked back. It's one of those things where just the flex doesn't bend with the contours, so it wants to push you back. There's a lot of rebound out of it, a lot of energy just pushing you into that back seat. It took about 2 to 3 laps to really figure out where the flex points were in this board and how to load it up and get it to snap. Now, this is a board you have to aggressively preload to get snap out of. And when you do, there's a lot of rebound in it and a lot of power coming off of that tail. You will feel it just load up and really push into it and pop. Now, if you're popping off your edge, you're going to engage that 3BT and you lose a little bit of that power. It just feels a bit more sluggish. Now, I didn't get a chance to hit any real jumps, and I use that term loosely because I was at a basin and even their real jumps are not real jumps. So I was taking it through the mini park. I think the biggest jump in there is maybe 8 to 10 feet on a good day. This board has so much power that when you load it up, it turned those little jumps into mini booters. Like you were sending it way past the landing on it. That's how much power is coming out of this tail. I would say this board is fully at home hitting large jumps. I mean, 40 plus footers. It's just got that power and flex behind it. I personally just didn't have the ability to go hit something like that. They just didn't have them there. And I'm getting older and my knees are kind of shot, so hitting bigger jumps really fucking hurts these days. Alright, so you got freestyle 3BT, you got sidekick, and you got a stiffer flex. How does this board butter? Well, you got to be aggressive with it. Speed will always be your friend. You want to make sure that you're getting your weight out over the tip or the tail. You really have to push into it hard. You're going to feel that camber fight you. Now, having that 3BT is nice because it scoops this board, tips out, and you can kind of roll around on that 3BT and engage it. But I'll say this, the nose is easier to butter than the tail, obviously due to the flex of this board. That tail is just noticeably stiffer. Is this a board I would go butter on every day? No. High-speed butters and fresh snow would be your best friend. Groomers, you're working for it, man. You're gonna feel it on this board. I'm gonna say it now. With the freestyle 3BT, this board is looser when you're trying to carve. You're gonna notice that you kind of have to change your dynamics of how you carve and how you drive into the board. It does roll from edge to edge easily enough, but to get it to actually engage and really dig in, you have to figure out where you're gonna load and unload this board. it's a deck that you've got to be very precise and bring your A game. You've got to charge a little bit harder. And once you figure out the subtleties of it, you're able to just understand how to dynamically carve with it. So you go in, you roll up on edge, and when you want to drive it, you've got to stay locked in. In soft snow, this is not a problem. This board is amazing in soft snow. You get into firmer snow or ice, you better pray you're locked in, otherwise you're gonna skid out. I noticed especially on heel side turns coming off and just trying to slingshot out that it loses a bit of its power and it tends to just skitter out a bit. Now, the good thing is that torsional flex of the board lets you really drive into it and steer, and there is rebound and power. It's just, you change how you carve with this board. Is it a great carving board? No. Is it good? With the right conditions, yes, it's fucking amazing. The wrong conditions, you're gonna hate life. So who is this board for? It's definitely for the guy that wants to charge hard but still throw a 360 off of a side hit. Someone that's really into that all-mountain freestyle but really has more of a free ride background. The Jam wasn't a bad board, but it wasn't a great board. It was just somewhere in that middle of the pack. The one big thing I noticed was that the freestyle 3BT seemed looser than the free ride 3BT or the powder free ride 3BT. So it's just one of those boards where, you know, you have to change how you carve on it, and you have to just sort of compensate a little bit for the 3BT. I still don't think 3BT is for everyone, and I know that Batalion's marketing department will probably argue with me about that, but you invented it, of course you're gonna market it that way. So that's what's going on. I also feel that the Jam got stiffer than it's been in previous years. Since the last time I rode it, this thing just felt noticeably stiffer, like bordering almost on to being a free ride board. So what boards are comparable to the Jam? The Capita Mercury, the Yes Standard, the Jones Mountain Twin. This has been my review of the Bataleon Jam. Do you agree with it? Do you disagree with it? Do you own one? Are you going to buy one? Leave me a comment down below. Let's have a conversation about this board. If you're new here, remember to subscribe, click the bell, get those notifications. That way you're not missing any of these product review videos or the other content we've got coming out for you snowboarders of the internet. If you'd really like to support us and you want to see us build out a real snowboarding network, swing on over to Angry Snowboarder VIP. I could tell you more here, but I've got a whole video over there for you describing what we're trying to do. As always, I've been your host, Avran LeFeber, and I'll see you in another video.